Hello friends and family, my name is Skylent and today I'm going to take you on a journey. Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 most populated free-to-play games on Steam. Now, these games are definitely popular, but the thing that I'm actually tracking here and what I'm looking at right now, the stats of, is technically how many players are playing at any one given time. Yeah, you get it? So these are games where you can just jump in and you're going to find a lot of people playing at any one time, all the time. You know, there's a lot of games where people technically own them, you know, because they're free and they just kind of purchase them. That doesn't mean that they have a really strong community, that there's a lot of people actively playing them. Nope, these games are actively being played currently. In fact, some of their numbers might actually be bigger because some of these games have launchers outside of Steam, and this is really only somewhat kind of, you know, approximately tracking actually like people launching it from Steam. So yeah, let's start with number 10. That game is Brawlhalla. Brawlhalla is a platform fighter, which means it's basically like Smash Bros, okay? Now, it is not a clone of Smash Bros. Trust me, it's got its own unique mechanics, its own unique characters, and it has this like really cool weapon pickup system, and all in all, I really enjoy the game. Personally, I think its art style is not personally for me, but I think a lot of people will be able to appreciate it because it's cartoon, it's very clean, which its competitors currently are kind of pixel arted, and they're not quite as clean graphically, so as a competitive game, Brawlhalla is really booming there, and also the art style is going to allow it to be played on pretty much any machine, which is great because it's also free. So yeah, any machine can just pick it up instantaneously. The next game I want to talk about is a game called Heroes and Generals. Now, this game has really been a roller coaster of critical acclaim and toxicity, kind of. I mean, we got people who defend this game like crazy to a lot of reviews. I know when I did my first impressions, I was really positive, but then I did a second impressions and I wasn't so positive. I got attacked. The people who play Heroes and Generals, which is a very popular game, tend to be kind of somewhat fanatical. It's a very niche game, so getting into it, even though there's lots of people playing it, it's still somewhat of a chore to get into because of all the intricacies, and it's, you know, that's a little rough around the edges, but because of its population and how like long it's been around in development, I think it's, you know, starting to kind of become a little bit more polished. And for all the positives when I did my first impressions, I think is a reason to check out Heroes and Generals. And then if you can break into the niche, into the hardcore community of this game, then you're going to find a lot more, a lot of intricacies that a lot of other people are going to miss out on. But yeah, it seems like more and more people are joining in and trying out and finding for themselves the secrets of what a hidden gem this game actually is. Okay, we've got a game called Path of Exile. You guys saw this coming, right? Path of Exile, hugely popular game, and one thing that makes the game really refreshing is not only is it really replayable because of all the customization, I mean in-depth customization, but it's also really replayable because of their season system, and they also just have a huge amount of like updates, like true expansion content, guys. It's freaking awesome, and that's completely free DLC, guys. You literally just patch it and then boom, you've got the next set of dungeons and story and things to do. It's pretty hype, guys. So yeah, it's if you were a fan of like the older Diablos, Path of Exile is essentially a spiritual successor to those games, and in every way I think it completely succeeds. It is a AAA free-to-play game. You can see why it's popular, and you can also see when you actually jump into the game why so many people continue to play the game. Next game we got to talk about is War Thunder, which to me, I really like this game. Now, I know a lot of people kind of like World of Tanks and that sort of series of games, and there are some other flight simulator games sort of out there, but War Thunder is really the most popular one, and also I really appreciate how War Thunder is kind of expanding into other territory, how there is tanks now, and how they're doing a little bit more with that, and it's not just planes, guys. And even if it was just planes, legitimately, it's really, really fun. It's incredibly intuitive. That's one thing that I really appreciated. Considering like World of Tanks and how complex that game is, War Thunder is significantly more mechanically like understood. Okay, it's more similar to a lot of other games that maybe we have played, and at the same time, it gives you a unique, kind of like a fresh breath of air, a little bit, because it is flying and the mechanics and the maps. The maps are actually really interesting. Now, there are some other games on the horizon like Dreadnought, which are going to kind of contend with this whole airspace combat thing, but all in all, War Thunder, because it does have the historical tie-ins, I think it's still going to keep its niche, and I think, in fact, it'll probably continue to go more popular as more people try this genre out, and then maybe want to flock to War Thunder, seeing how cool this type of genre is. So yeah, War Thunder, guys, it's not just planes, but if you are looking for plane combat, War Thunder is definitely the best one, in my opinion. And the next game is Smite. Smite is really big. Now, this is definitely not tracking from the high-res launcher, but Smite is huge, guys. One of the biggest MOBAs out there. I think a lot of people consider it like a part of the big three. You have League of Legends, you've got Dota, and then you've got Smite. Smite was the first over-the-shoulder action MOBA. It's incredibly mechanical. It has a lot of really unique mechanics. It's not just copied and pasted League with a camera behind the shoulder. It really has a lot of unique things going for it. And overall, it is still a standard MOBA, 3 lanes, your itemizations, blah, 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 but there's just a lot of originality, a lot of uniquity with Smite, and I think it's worthwhile playing, even if you have played a mechanical MOBA like League of Legends, or if you do play Dota. Smite is unique enough. You know, just like how Dota's different, League's different, Heroes of the Storm is different, yeah, Smite is also different. And even though it's a little bit older, it has been continuously updated, just like all these other games, been updated, it's been refreshed, new content, new characters. There's always a reason to come and play Smite, and also it does have a competitive following, just like Paladins. And the next game is a Warframe. It is Warframe. I wanted to say H1Z1, but that's not free to play anymore. It's still super popular, but now we're going to talk about Warframe. Warframe is also, this is not even tracking the PlayStation or the Warframe launcher. So yeah, dude, Warframe is stupid big. And in my opinion, I think it could be much bigger if they actually had a little bit more intuitive everything, basically. The game's a little bit too grindy for me personally, and also it's really mechanically intensive, but you're not really rewarded for doing anything mechanically intensive. So yeah, the game is just a little bit face roll, and the PvP is still really kind of choppy and, you know, not exactly polished, but the game is coming along just really, really slowly. They're consistently adding on to the game tons and tons of stuff, but like the feature set is coming along slowly. Okay, so we're getting new maps, that's cool, new warframes, but you know, the actual systems to make the game a little bit more AAA, a little bit more well-rounded, not so much. So in the end, a lot of people are still playing Warframe because there's lots of new content, but at the same time, it's still kind of niche, guys. It's still like that weird action RPG grindy kind of thing. If you're not into it, you're simply not going to play Warframe. But if you are into it, then Warframe is just never going to run out. It's just a million billion hours of content waiting for you to be farmed. All right, the next game is a game called Unturned. This game, pretty fantastic for how simple it is, and it's really just like the idea of DayZ, basically. It's DayZ, but made as like the lowest sort of system requirements. It's got the lowest polygon count. It's super clean graphics, super cute. It's basically DayZ for kids, kind of. It's free to play. It's completely open. You can spend $5, unlock customization to kind of help out developer. But yeah, this was actually envisioned by a 16-year-old, so that was really cool. And in Roblox, so hype there. Unturned turned into a full-fledged title launching on Steam, and it's just been getting bigger and more popular. And it's really stunning because honestly, it actually has some features that some other games in the genres, like the War Z, that game didn't have cars. Unturned launched from a freaking 16-year-old with working cars and a lighting system. So yeah, man, it looks really simple. It looks really blocky, but it's really the genre's concepts distilled into a really simple game. Yes, that just works intuitively, and it just works because this genre is known for games that just don't work. So it's really refreshing to play Unturned. And the next game we have is Paladins. Paladins is brand new, and normally I wouldn't talk about a brand new game. I'd be like, oh, it's new, that's why it's popular. But the fact is that Paladins is probably going to continue with its popularity. It's growing really, really fast, mainly actually because it does kind of clone Overwatch in a lot of ways. But even though at first that was kind of a stigma, and I'll admit it, I kind of talked down to it too, and I really hope they continue developing new, unique things and aspects to the game, which they have been. But, you know, it's kind of a good thing that they're basically a free-to-play Overwatch. Everybody loves Overwatch. Everybody loves it. And so you can't hate Paladins, which is basically free-to-play Overwatch. Now, again, I'm not saying it's a complete clone, okay? There are definitely things that are very similar, but there are reasons why me, a Diamond Overwatch player, does still enjoy going into Paladins and playing it, and maybe even potentially playing it competitive just like I do in Overwatch. So, yes, guys, play some Paladins. And now we have Team Fortress 2. You guys saw this coming. Team Fortress 2 has been the #1 and #2 for the longest time in the popular free-to-play games, just popular overall on Steam. Yeah, Team Fortress 2 has been huge and is still actually really, really big. Now, even though it's directly competing with Overwatch, at the same time, you have to remember Team Fortress 2 is a very different game, okay? Where Overwatch is like this 6v6, a very competitive game, Team Fortress 2 is extremely casual. It's mayhem, it's hectic, it's not just 6v6 either. Yeah, they do have a 6v6 competitive mode now, but you can join into matches with, I don't know, I think there's actually no limit to what you can modify your server to have. And speaking of that, Team Fortress 2 has a lot of really random mods and jump maps and like gimmicky game maps, like mini game maps like Simon Says and weird stuff like that. Team Fortress 2 is a game where you go to play basically any other game other than Team Fortress 2. It's kind of confusing. It's essentially a hub game where you go and then you kind of play the mods and stuff with that. Of course, you can always still enjoy the vanilla Team Fortress 2 experience because from what I've experienced in all these hero shooters, I haven't seen a class like the Spy. I haven't quite seen a class that's as intricate as the Engineer. And of course, Team Fortress 2 still has man versus machine, so there's always a reason to jump into Team Fortress 2. And now the final game that is the most popular game on Steam, free-to-play or otherwise, is going to be Dota 2, guys. It's a free-to-play game, and actually kind of similar to Team Fortress 2. A lot of people maybe don't know this about Dota 2 if you've never launched it, because I hate MOBAs, but Dota 2 actually is essentially a hub game. But unlike Team Fortress 2, it's significantly easier to actually find and manage custom games. So there is a custom game finder. So you can find servers, you can actually go into a matchmaker and join up with other teams. So you can find these random game modes, these random maps, and you can do all sorts of crazy, ridiculous things that's outside of the base Dota 2 game. Now, talking about the actual base Dota 2 game, holy hell, dude, it's got a lot of hours waiting for you to play, okay? It takes a long time to memorize all the... Yes, it's kind of like... not intuitive mechanics, but there's a lot of mechanics to be learned in Dota 2, a lot of different heroes that control very uniquely compared to League of Legends or Smite or Heroes of the Storm. You have a lot of micro intensivity with like characters like Nature's Prophet, where you're controlling like 20, 50 million billion different creatures. Broodmother, those are the characters I play. Meepo, controlling lots of different units. You don't get that in other MOBAs. Also, the itemization is way more intricate, way more in-depth than Dota 2. You're buying and selling constantly and getting all these really ridiculous items. So all in all, like tactically and strategically, Dota 2 is really intense. And I'll admit it, mechanically, it's no League of Legends, it's no Smite, but if you want something that has just raw content to master and understand, and inside the base game, that's Dota 2, absolutely. A lot of intricacies there. But then also you can go into the mod scene, into the custom game scene, and you can just have a blast. Tons of different hordes modes that players have made, lots of different gimmick maps, and there's even like full-on single-player RPGs and stuff in there now. So Dota 2, you can definitely see why so many people from all walks of life are not just trying out the game and playing it, maybe the base game, but just all in all, just for everything that it offers, because it offers so much. You can see why they're playing it so consistently. Abso-freaking-lutely! And that is the 10 list, guys. The 10 most concurrently played, or they have the, for right now, the peak players, the highest peak players per day on Steam. Okay, so the most populated free-to-play games on Steam. So if you're looking for a multiplayer game that has a big community, some of them are, unique niches and they kind of focus on different people. I understand you might not like a certain game. Okay, that's cool. But I'm pretty sure if you just pick one of these, try them out, you probably find one that's pretty cool. You probably have some fun. I hope you do, guys. I really do. I have fun with all of these myself personally, even though it took a little bit longer to get into some, like Dota 2, but that's fine, guys. Give it some time, and you're going to have it a worthwhile time, I promise. You just learn the games. Just learn the games, guys. I know a lot of my audience don't like MOBAs, so I just wanted to reiterate that. Thanks for watching. I'm Skylint, and this was a top 10 that I made. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the top 10 that I made, and there will be more in the future. Thanks. I'll see you guys again next time.